Back in the 1960s, something unusual was happening. Trucks were no longer just built for work. Some of them were quietly turning into machines with real power. No one expected it, and most people didn't even notice. But hidden among them were pickups that moved faster, pulled harder, and disappeared before they were fully understood. 8. 1964 Ford Econoline pickup. At first glance, it feels like something is missing. No hood, no visible engine bay, just a flat front that makes you question how this truck even functions. The 1964 Ford Econoline pickup was built around a completely different idea. Instead of following the traditional layout, Ford pushed the entire cabin forward and redesigned the structure to save space and improve maneuverability. But the real surprise isn't what you see, it's what you don't. This truck was powered by a 2.4-liter inline-six engine, producing around 101 horsepower and approximately 156 pound-feet of torque. Unlike conventional pickups, this engine wasn't mounted under a front hood. It was placed between and slightly behind the front seats, hidden under a removable metal cover known as the doghouse. Performance figures remain modest, with 0 to 60 miles per hour taking around 18 seconds, a top speed near 75 miles per hour, and a lightweight body of roughly 2,900 pounds. Step inside, and the entire experience changes instantly. You're sitting far forward, almost directly above the front wheels, with nothing but open road ahead of you. The absence of a hood creates a unique sense of visibility, making the truck feel shorter and more connected to its surroundings. But the biggest difference comes from the engine's position. It's right there beneath you. You can hear it clearly, feel its vibration through the seat, and notice how every throttle input translates directly into movement. There's no separation, no insulation, just a raw mechanical connection between driver and machine. As you begin to drive, the Econoline feels surprisingly nimble. The short wheelbase makes tight turns easy, and its lightweight design gives it a responsiveness you wouldn't expect from a pickup. Acceleration builds steadily, not fast but consistent. It pulls forward with a rhythm that feels controlled rather than aggressive. It doesn't try to impress with power or speed. It stands out because of how differently it was engineered and how uniquely it feels to drive even today. 7. 1965 Chevrolet El Camino SS 396. From a distance, it doesn't immediately give itself away. It looks like a clean, stylish coupe, until your eyes move toward the rear and you realize it's a pickup, but not the kind built for carrying tools. This one was built to carry power. The 1965 Chevrolet El Camino SS 396 blurred the line between muscle car and utility, creating something that felt completely out of place for its time. It had the stance of a performance car, but the practicality of a truck, and that combination made it dangerous in the most unexpected way. At its core sat a massive 6.5-liter big block V8, producing around 325 horsepower and approximately 410 pound-feet of torque. Unlike traditional pickups of the era, this wasn't about slow, steady work. It was about raw acceleration and straight-line dominance. Put your foot down, and the response is immediate. It could move from 0 to 60 miles per hour in around 6.5 seconds and push toward a top speed close to 120 miles per hour, all while weighing roughly 3,500 pounds. For something shaped like a pickup, those numbers didn't just stand out, they shocked people. Step inside and the cabin tells a different story. It doesn't feel like a work truck at all. The seating position is low, more like a muscle car, and the dashboard layout reflects that same performance-focused mindset. Everything feels tighter, more controlled, and built for driving, not hauling. Turn the key, and the engine comes alive with a deep, aggressive rumble that fills the cabin instantly. The vibrations travel through the steering wheel and into your hands, reminding you that this isn't just another vehicle. As you accelerate, the front lifts slightly, the rear digs in, and the power comes in strong and direct. There's no hesitation, just a solid surge that keeps building. Each gear change feels heavy and deliberate, adding to the sense of control and strength. Most people didn't know what to make of it back then, because it wasn't just a pickup, it was a muscle car that refused to follow the rules. Back when trucks were built to work, a few were secretly built to dominate the road. 6. 1968 Ford Ranchero GT 428 Cobra Jet. A long hood stretches forward, hinting at something serious underneath, but nothing prepares you for what happens when it actually comes to life. The sound isn't just loud, it's heavy, like each pulse of the engine carries weight behind it. The 1968 Ford Ranchero GT 428 Cobra Jet represents a moment when practicality and performance collided. On the surface, it still carried the identity of a pickup, but beneath that familiar shape lived a machine built for straight-line dominance. At its heart sat the legendary 7-liter 428 Cobra Jet V8, officially rated at around 335 horsepower, but widely known to produce more, along with approximately 440 pound-feet of torque. This wasn't light, high-revving power. It was thick, immediate torque that pushed hard from the very beginning. That's why it could launch from 0 to 60 miles per hour in around 5.8 seconds, continuing its pull toward a top speed near 125 miles per hour, all while carrying a weight of roughly 3,700 pounds. Step into the cabin, and the experience becomes far more focused. The seating position is low and planted, giving you a clear view down that long hood. The controls are simple, but everything feels mechanical and solid. There's no softness here, just a direct connection between driver and machine. Turn the key, and the engine settles into a deep, uneven idle that you can feel through the entire vehicle. The vibration travels through the seat, into your hands on the steering wheel, and even through the pedals beneath your feet. Press the throttle, and the response is immediate. The torque hits early, pushing the car forward with a strong, steady surge. The rear tires grip hard, the front lifts slightly, and the acceleration builds in a way that feels controlled but powerful. If this surprised you, make sure to hit like right now. 5. 1969 GMC Sprint SP. Not every performance machine announces itself loudly. Some hide in plain sight, clean lines, simple shape, nothing overly aggressive, until the moment you press the throttle. The 1969 GMC Sprint SP was GMC's answer to the growing demand for something that could blend utility with real performance. It didn't try to stand out visually like a muscle car, but underneath it carried the same attitude. Power came from a strong small block V8, most notably the 5.7-liter 350 V8, producing around 300 horsepower and approximately 380 pound-feet of torque. For its time, that was more than enough to turn a practical pickup into something genuinely quick. And when it moved, it felt different from what people expected. It could accelerate from 0 to 60 miles per hour in around 7 seconds, reaching a top speed close to 115 miles per hour, all while weighing roughly 3,600 pounds. Those numbers placed it closer to muscle cars than traditional trucks of the era. Step inside, and the character becomes clearer. The cabin feels familiar, simple, clean, and functional. But there's a subtle shift in how everything responds. The seating position is comfortable, yet slightly performance-oriented, giving you a better sense of control. Turn the key, and the engine comes alive with a deep, steady rumble that fills the cabin without being overwhelming. You can feel it through the steering wheel, through the seat, and even through the floor. As you accelerate, the power builds smoothly but with authority. It doesn't hit violently. It pushes forward in a controlled, confident way. These aren't the trucks people remember. These are the ones history almost forgot. 1961 Studebaker Champ pickup. You don't expect a pickup from this era to feel refined, but the moment you look at it closely, something feels different. The front end doesn't resemble a typical truck. It carries the styling of a passenger car, almost like it belongs in a completely different category. The 1961 Studebaker Champ pickup was built during a time when manufacturers were experimenting, trying to make trucks more appealing beyond pure utility. And this one leaned heavily into that idea, blending car-like design with everyday practicality. Under the hood, it came with multiple engine options, but one of the stronger setups included a V8 producing around 180 horsepower and approximately 260 pound-feet of torque. It wasn't extreme, but it was enough to give the truck a noticeable edge over standard work pickups. Performance remained modest but respectable, with 0 to 60 miles per hour in about 10 seconds, a top speed near 100 miles per hour, and a weight of roughly 3,200 pounds. Step inside, and the difference becomes even clearer. The cabin feels more like a car than a truck. The dashboard design is smoother, the seating more comfortable, and the overall layout feels less industrial. It's not just about function, it's about making the driving experience easier and more enjoyable. Turn the key, and the engine responds with a smoother tone compared to rougher trucks of the time. The vibrations are present but controlled, giving the cabin a more relaxed feel. As you begin to drive, the Champ feels lighter and easier to handle. The steering is more forgiving, and the power delivery is smooth rather than aggressive. It builds speed steadily, without sudden bursts. You're not fighting the truck, you're working with it. Even on longer drives, it feels manageable, something you could actually live with daily instead of just using for work. Long before comfort became a selling point, this design had already pointed the way, then slipped out of the spotlight while everyone looked elsewhere. 1967 Mercury Ranchero GT. A sharper grille, a more upscale badge, and a stance that feels slightly more refined. That's the first impression. But the real difference isn't in how it looks. It's in how it moves once you give it throttle. The 1967 Mercury Ranchero GT was Mercury's take on the growing muscle truck idea, taking the Ranchero formula and adding a touch of performance and premium feel at the same time. It wasn't just built to work, it was built to stand out quietly. Under the hood, one of the strongest options included a 6.4-liter 390 V8, producing around 320 horsepower and approximately 427 pound-feet of torque. That kind of output transformed the driving experience, giving it the kind of strength you wouldn't expect from something shaped like a pickup. Press the accelerator, and the response feels immediate. It could reach 0 to 60 miles per hour in around 6.5 seconds, push toward a top speed near 120 miles per hour, and carry a weight of roughly 3,600 pounds without feeling sluggish. For its time, that placed it firmly into muscle car territory. Inside the cabin, the atmosphere feels slightly more refined than its counterparts. The seating is comfortable, the dashboard design carries a cleaner layout, and the overall feel leans more toward a personal vehicle than a work truck. But the moment the engine comes alive, that calm environment changes instantly. The V8 produces a deep, confident rumble that fills the cabin without sounding rough. You can feel the vibration through the steering wheel and seat, but it stays controlled, never chaotic. As you accelerate, the power builds in a strong, steady wave. The rear settles, the front lifts just enough, and the vehicle moves forward with confidence rather than aggression. Every shift feels solid, every movement predictable, giving you a sense of control even as speed increases. No confusion about its purpose. Press the throttle and the answer shows up instantly. What happens when raw muscle meets a pickup body? Something nobody expected. Subscribe for more rare builds that most people have never seen. 2. 1969 Dodge D200 Swept Line 440 Magnum. Big, wide, and unapologetically heavy. This isn't the kind of truck that tries to hide what it is. One look at it and you already expect strength. But what sits under the hood takes that expectation to a completely different level. The 1969 Dodge D200 Swept Line 440 Magnum wasn't built as a performance machine in the traditional sense. It was designed as a heavy-duty work truck, but when paired with serious power, it turned into something far more intimidating. At its core was the massive 7.2-liter 440 Magnum V8, producing around 375 horsepower and approximately 480 pound-feet of torque. That kind of torque wasn't subtle. It arrived early, strong, and with authority that could be felt immediately. Press the accelerator and the response feels heavy but relentless. Despite its size, it could push from 0 to 60 miles per hour in around 7.5 seconds and reach a top speed near 110 miles per hour, all while carrying a substantial weight of roughly 4,500 pounds. For a truck built to haul and work, that level of performance felt almost unreal. Step inside, and the cabin reflects its purpose. Everything feels solid, durable, and built to last. The seating is upright, the steering wheel large, and the controls are straightforward. There's no refinement here, just function and strength. As you accelerate, the torque hits hard, pushing the truck forward with a force that feels almost industrial. It doesn't feel quick in a light way. It feels powerful in a heavy, unstoppable way. The front rises slightly, the rear digs in, and the truck gains speed with a steady, commanding pull. Every shift lands with weight behind it, reinforcing the sense that this machine was built to handle more than most. Just raw strength moving forward, exactly as intended. 1. 1968 Chevrolet C10. Drop the key, and the first thing that hits isn't movement, it's sound. A deep, thick V8 pulse that fills the space around you before the truck even begins to roll. The 1968 Chevrolet C10 96 Big Block looks like a clean, classic pickup on the outside, but once fitted with the big block, it turns into something far more serious. No flashy badges, no dramatic styling, just quiet confidence hiding serious power. Under the hood sits a massive 6.5-liter, 396 big block V8, producing around 350 horsepower and approximately 415 pound-feet of torque. That kind of setup wasn't common in pickups of the time, and it completely changed how this truck behaved. Press the throttle, and the response is immediate. It pulls from 0 to 60 miles per hour in around 6.8 seconds, pushing toward a top speed near 120 miles per hour, all while weighing roughly 3,800 pounds. For something originally built for work, that level of acceleration felt completely out of place. Step into the cabin, and the environment stays simple, but the feeling changes. The seating position is upright, the dashboard minimal, and everything feels straightforward. As you accelerate, the torque builds quickly, pushing the truck forward with a strong, controlled surge. Some of these machines faded away, but the impact they left behind still matters. If you discovered something new today, hit like right now. Subscribe for more rare and forgotten builds like these, and drop a comment. Which one would you bring back if you could?